Hello everyone, for MLG TV, this is going to be Nursky bringing you this game number 3 of this Team Liquid Zerg on Zerg grudge match, so to speak. First off, spawning as the red Zerg, Rhett. And his opponent and teammate spawning as our blue Zerg, Haypro. We're going to be on MLG Zelnaga Caverns for this game number 3. Did see in game number 1, Rhett definitely had some very good timings with squeezing out his drones here and there to secure an economic advantage over Haypro. Haypro did have one good timing attack in that game number 1. Nearly broke Rhett, but just couldn't quite do it. Rhett with the defense was able to rebound a little bit of economy that he did lose against Haypro and was able to secure the victory in game number 1. Now Haypro, with his very smart timing attack type of style in this Zerg vs Zerg matchup, did manage to trick Rhett though in game number 2, baited a bunch of Rhett's lings into some of his banelings, ended up taking a very fast win in game number 2. So Haypro definitely some very potent attack timings. Definitely seems to like to be the aggressor, while Rhett seems to like to play more of a defensive harass-based style, where he's really looking for his opponent to make a mistake that he can capitalize on with his superior economy. So definitely would have to give Rhett the slight advantage in a longer game, but of course Haypro, with those really smart timings with his attacks, could definitely potentially take this game 3 off of Rhett. You see Rhett is going to be going with the more economical hatch first opener here. Meanwhile, we see Haypro actually going to be going with the gas first straight into a pool. So Haypro definitely have the advantage initially. Now, I'm going to be interested to see how Rhett plays this out. So Zelnaga Caverns does have a rather large, wide open natural, so it is a lot of times very hard to defend the hatch first style of play. Do see Rhett is going to be taking his gas before pool, so I will be expecting him to get up his ling speed very quickly. Not going to go with a roach opener. I do like that choice by Rhett. I do not think roaches are actually really that good at defending. It just takes way too many roaches to actually cover this whole area from the ramp up here all the way over to your natural down here. So you generally are going to potentially lose your natural against any kind of big ling pressure, and it could definitely put you behind when you do go for that hatch first type of play if you do take a lot of damage from ling pressure. We do see Haypro immediately going to be building a couple of lings upon his pool completing, is starting that metabolic boost right away, is leaving drones in on gas. Looks like he's going to be going for a very fast baneling nest, so definitely going to be able to apply some pressure to Rhett here, who does not even have his pool complete yet. Is just going to be finish up that pool in a moment. He will be able to get out some Zerglings. Now Haypro won't have ling speed for a little while now, so Rhett will be okay for a little while, but we see Haypro actually gearing up with a lot of lings initially here. Already has 6 out. We see another couple of sets of Zerglings on the way, going to be going straight up to 8. Does have his queen out now, and actually going to be building a lot of lings behind us. So Haypro not even going to be droning up past this, looking to apply a lot of pressure. Might be going for a little bit of an all-in-ish type of play in the early stages of this game to really apply some pressure to Rhett. We see Rhett immediately getting a spine crawler for defense, is getting his metabolic boost, still mining out of his extractor with 2 drones, and is going to be getting a fairly fast baneling. So he's going to have some banelings to defend, but we can see right now Haypro actually morphing in 5 banelings over here near the natural of Rhett. He is going to be trying to apply some pressure. Here comes Rhett with his Zerglings. He needs to be careful though, and actually loses all of his Zerglings. This is very reminiscent of what happened in game number 1. We do see Rhett now moving his queens into a position to try and intercept all these banelings. Really good queen positioning there by Rhett, but now Haypro actually going to be going for the run by. Might actually be able to squeeze these banelings past. Rhett manages to focus fire down one of the banelings, but now Haypro is going to be getting into the main and could potentially do a lot of damage to Rhett. 3 lings going down against that single baneling. Haypro is going to get a couple of drone kills right there. A couple of more lings running by the queens, getting into the main of Rhett. Will allow Haypro to get a few more worker kills, all the way up to 3 worker kills now. We see Rhett with the defense though, trying to hold his front here. Really needs to get his ramp blocked off once again. We do see these slow Zerglings just about to have ling speed where he will actually be able to compete with the Zerglings of Haypro. There's the ling speed finally down, and now Rhett will be actually able to defend these, and Rhett going to actually trap these lings over here in the main. We see Haypro reinforcing some more lings and banelings over here towards the natural while he runs these lings around the base of Rhett. Going to try and pick off another drone if he can. I think he may have gotten just a drone before actually losing all those lings down. Up to 4 worker kills now, and Rhett's baneling nest is now finished. Is going to be morphing in some banelings to defend of his own. Still building a lot of drones behind this though is Rhett, sneaking out a few drones in between every wave of units. Now does have banelings, will allow him to defend against these high ling count numbers. Haypro is going to need to be careful. does manage to get one of the banelings, not going to quite get the second baneling, so it's going to need to be extremely careful here. Still building a lot of attack units behind this is Haypro. If we look at the comment right now, we can see Rhett with the slight advantage all the way up to 20 harvesters to just a 16 Haypro. Haypro moving in now, but a couple of banelings almost gets a big hit off, but does just barely manage it. I do believe Rhett has the numbers to actually defend this from Haypro right now, so Haypro is going to have to back off just for now. We do see behind this, though, Haypro is getting up his expansion hatchery, so definitely is going to be playing towards the long game. Going to be being very aggressive with Rhett here in the early stages of the game, trying to establish some map dominance. Is going to want to try and keep Rhett under pressure so that he does not build a lot of harvesters, but that is not really stopping Rhett at all. So we do see Rhett right now all the way up to 27 harvesters. Has a roach warren on the way as well now. Has not started his lair yet. And we do see right now Haypro over here in his main still building a decent amount of forces. Looks like Haypro is going to be starting to play a little bit more defensively. Going to be starting to try and drone up a little bit. Do see the big drone transfer going down here by Haypro. And Rhett actually canceling that roach warren. So Rhett does cancel the roach warren, and be very interested to see what Rhett does decide to do here. Now building a lot of Zerglings. Looks like Rhett wants to actually get offensive here against Haypro rather than just droning up right now. If we look at the income tab, we can see right now Rhett on 28. Haypro starting to catch up to 27 harvesters, but Rhett will have a little bit of an opening here where he can afford to build some units before going back to droning. And Haypro is going to have to defend, and we do see Rhett morphing in 6 banelings now as he does get ready to gear up to try and pressure Haypro's natural. Haypro is getting up a roach warren here behind this. Did see that roach warren from Rhett. Now, of course, Rhett has canceled that roach warren since, but we do see Rhett gearing up for a pretty big counterattack here. Wants to try and put some pressure back on Haypro. Does not want to allow the Haypro to just drone up and get back into the game. And now a big hit goes down with a lot of those banelings onto a ton of the lings there. Now we see banelings going back and forth. Haypro does have 3 more banelings. Now Rhett is out of banelings right now, so he is going to have to be very careful here. Does not want to allow those banelings to get any big hits on his lings. And try and pick off the queen. Needs to be careful. Banelings moving in. Rhett with very good control, though, is managing to actually micro those back and forth. Does lose a lot of lings, though, to those banelings, so Rhett does take a pretty big hit. That will stifle his attack a little bit there. Is going to be trying to move in to pick off another harvester or 2 if he can, but does look like Rhett might be forced to retreat here. Is reinforcing, though, with a lot of lings. Does lose a couple of lings against one of Haypro's banelings once again. Can be very close here, as we do see Haypro now building some roaches to help reinforce his front here against these lings. And now those lings are Rhett just streaming in, though, trying to get some damage done. Do manage to pick off the queen over there at the natural. Now the roaches are going to have to chase these lings into the main. If we look at the workers killed now, we can see Haypro still with the advantage 4 to just Rhett's 1. Rhett is going to be trying to pick off this queen. Would be huge if he could get it. Going to be extremely close down to 17 hit points, but no, Haypro will manage to survive with his queen. Rhett's still gearing up with a lot of units here at the front of Haypro's base, but now starting to tech up and drone up behind this pressure that he has been putting on Haypro. Haypro's still building a lot of units. A lair started now for Rhett. Is going to be starting an extra macro hatchery, evolution chamber, roach warren on the way. Rhett going to be poking in here to Haypro's natural. Does manage to pick off a drone before he is forced to retreat here. Haypro with a lot of roaches, lings, and banelings right now. Rhett getting his roach warren underway as well now. Do see a lot of spine crawlers over here going up for Rhett to be more defensive as he does start to drone up a lot, poking in and out with those lings, trying to keep Haypro under pressure, force Haypro into building some units so that he can get a harvester advantage. And we see that's exactly what Rhett is doing right now, up 36 harvesters to just the 28 of Haypro. So right now Rhett in a very good position against Haypro. Will need to defend. Haypro has been building a lot of units here. So Haypro with a decent amount of units, a lot of roaches over here, building some more lings, does have a lot of banelings. So Haypro is sitting on a lot of units, but right now not as many drones. So it's going to be interesting to see. Haypro is going to maybe gear up to do a little bit of an attack here on Rhett. You see him now swinging around the ling. We'll see that there is the roach warren up for Rhett. Might have gotten vision of the lair as well. Do see is going to be swinging around here to the backside with a bunch of these Zerglings. Could be going for a baneling attack, but he's going to have to wait and see if he does actually morph them into anything. Rhett moving out right now to clear the rocks at the gold expansion. Haypro not morphing these into anything just yet, just kind of leaving them hanging out there, but a lot of roaches in production for Haypro at the same time as he is now starting to move out. Does look like he does have these hatcheries rally for, so it looks like Haypro is going to be going on the offensive here. A lot of banelings now morphing in for Haypro, way behind on economy though, so he's definitely going to need to get some damage done with this attack. And we do see right now 52 harvesters, so just the 30-some of Haypro. Rhett does have that infestation pit on the way now as well. a lot of upgrades, and it looks like Ret is going to be under siege here as Haypro gearing up for a big attack. A lot of roaches here. Do see in the units tab, Ret just with 7 roaches and 14 lings, starting to build some more units, but here comes the big push by Haypro. Here comes those banelings in the backside. They could do a lot of damage to the drone line of Ret, but actually Haypro not going to go after the drones, instead going to go after, it looks like, the front of Ret, but actually losing a lot of those banelings almost for nothing. But will Haypro actually still be able to break the front of Ret? It's going to be extremely careful. Ret streaming in a lot of units. Haypro is reinforcing now with a lot of lings. You see Ret is going to take a lot of worker kills right now as he is using those workers to defend this push while he does build some more units. Just 5 roaches out and a lot of those drones now are going down. Here comes more roaches reinforcing in for Ret. Right now Haypro just reinforcing with a lot of zerglings, so I do not know if Haypro is going to be able to break Ret here. It's going to be extremely close. Ret now with the roach advantage, and it looks like Ret is going to be able to hold against Haypro. Will force him out of his base, but a lot of damage has been done to the economy of Ret as he is now behind 24 harvesters to the 31 of Haypro. So Haypro with an excellent attack move there. Do see a lot of lings now for Haypro, going to be gearing up to move around the backside, maybe try and inflict some more damage to Ret. So Ret definitely is behind right now as far as the harvester count goes. He's going to need to be rebuilding his harvester counts, but right now having to build a lot of units to actually reinforce here just in case Haypro does come with another attack. And we do see Haypro actually not building a lot of harvesters, but building a couple of harvesters, is getting up some spine crawlers, does have his lair finally underway now so that he can start getting all of those essential upgrades. But right now we do see Haypro could be gearing up for another run by over here into the natural, and yes, that is exactly what he's going to be doing. Ret with actually all of his forces out on the map, going to have a hard time defending this. Ret's roach force is moving towards the natural of Haypro here. I do not know if Ret's going to actually be able to break Haypro here. This might be actually a big mistake by Ret that could actually cost him, as we do see his natural completely evacuated. Meanwhile, Ret is going to be going into the back of Haypro's natural, trying to get some good positioning to do some damage. Does not want to leave these roaches in range of those spine crawlers. Haypro now reinforcing with a lot more roaches. Ret does have the 1-0 upgrade. Haypro's roaches are unupgraded, so that will make Ret's roaches quite a bit more effective against Haypro's roaches. And we do see that Ret also has that roach speed, getting a very good surround on those roaches, but Haypro with a lot of spine crawlers and defending, and will actually hold here, is going to force Ret to retreat. So Ret not going to be able to actually break Haypro here. If you look at the income tab, Ret's starting to catch up a little bit right now. 28 harvesters to the 30 of Haypro, but Haypro still with a decent lead right now. Ret, though, does have the tech advantage, does already have this infestation pit up, hasn't started the pathogen glands upgrades yet to actually get those infestors out. So we do see that Haypro is still in this as far as the tech upgrades go. A little behind on the roach upgrades, but not that far behind yet. We do see the pathogen glands research now getting underway for Ret. We do see Haypro gearing up to go with another baneling assault here on the natural. It would be absolutely huge if he can get some of these drones of Ret. Will Ret notice this in time, though? Oh, loses about 4 harvesters to that baneling attack. So it could have done a lot more damage than that, but is going to keep Ret equal with Haypro, as Haypro is still a little bit ahead in the harvester count now with that assault. Decent amount of unit numbers for Ret, though, so by no means is out of this game, but really Haypro equaling things out quite a bit with that attack, although Ret does still have the tech advantage. So you do see his pathogen gland upgrades almost to the point now where he can build some infestors, and once he does get those infestors out on the field, it is going to make it very, very difficult for Haypro to apply a lot of pressure. Ret now poking into that back corridor, wants to make sure Haypro not just sitting a bunch of banelings over there. Haypro does have a few lings over there that he could produce some banelings out of, but now here comes the infestors for Ret, and this is really where things could swing into the favor of Ret, just because Haypro is a ways behind as far as teching goes. Do see he does have the +1, is just about to have roach speed, but nowhere near getting infestors out. Needs to build up his economy quite a bit. We do see just sitting on 42 harvesters. Meanwhile, Ret has blasted out a bunch of harvesters back up to 50 and way ahead of Haypro once again, just showing that economic prowess that he does have the advantage of over Haypro. Haypro, though, is taking a pretty good defensive position, does have good creep spread, so very, very good with his creep spread. Now going to be getting a good defensive position up here to possibly take his gold base. We see Ret actually taking his gold base immediately upon seeing that Haypro is advancing these spine crawlers forward, expecting Haypro probably will be taking his gold base, but Haypro actually not doing that, building up a rather large amount of roaches right now. If you look at the units tab, you can see Haypro with a huge amount of roach numbers, 35 to just the 26 of Ret, but of course Ret does have a couple of infestors already on the field. Haypro does not even have the infestation pit down anywhere, so here goes down that gold by Ret, but Ret actually not defending it. Haypro could actually just pick this off and deny it, and yes, Ret will be forced to cancel that gold expansion, retreats that drone. We do see Rhett is gearing up here. Does already have 3 infestors out. Has a lot of roaches. Those infestors gaining energy. A 4th infestor going to be joining them now. Plus 2 attacks, just about finished up for Rhett. So Rhett definitely going to have a tech advantage for a little while here against Haypro. And Haypro is going to need to get up some more tech besides these roaches for the longer term part of this game. Because otherwise he could take a lot of damage and potentially be broken by these infestors. Because infestors just do so much damage to these armored roach units. We now see Rhett going to be moving out to try and deny this 3rd of Haypro and do the same thing that Haypro did to him. You see there goes down the big fungal growth on those big packs of roaches. Going to be doing a lot of damage to those roaches. Is no more fungal growth left on these infestors. He needs to be careful. Does not want to actually lose these infestors. The question is, will Haypro be able to actually defend this, or can Rhett actually break him here? Going to be extremely close. We do see the 2-0 versus the 1-0 roaches is giving the favor towards Haypro. A couple of infested Terran coming in, and he will force the cancel at the bare minimum. Haypro going to be forced to back up and retreat and defend at his natural. We do see more reinforcements coming in for Rhett. It looks like Rhett might be willing to push the issue here, but we do see Rhett's roach numbers are starting to decline. A couple of infested Terran going down to try and reinforce this. Some of the older infested Terran coming in. Here comes a couple more roaches by Rhett, but it does not look like Rhett's going to press this attack anymore. It looks like Rhett's actually starting to finally retreat. Yes, is going to be pulling back now with all of his forces upon denying that 3rd base. Looks like he wants to try and get his gold back underway. Going to take a more defensive position here. Would like to see him maybe build another infestor or 2, just so that he does have those available for his defense here, because he is going to have a little bit of a waiting time before he does have enough energy on these infestors to have fungals once again. And with just pure roach numbers by Haypro, he is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to Rhett if Rhett does not have enough roach count, just because these infestors are going to be fairly useless until they do have enough energy. And we see Haypro actually realizing that it's going to be trying to take advantage, wants to try and get in here and damage Rhett. We do see Haypro's roaches are now 2-0, but one of the infestors with just barely enough for fungal growth is going to force Haypro back. Haypro with his own infestor tech on the way though behind this is not going to be just sitting on that roach tech forever. You see the pathogen glands upgrades just about to finish up. Is building 3 infestors now. Does have that gold base back underway. Rhett will get his gold base up first, but just barely. See a little bit of a Ling force here moving out for Haypro as well. If we look at the workers killed, we can see right now Haypro 47 workers killed, but economy wise actually Rhett's still not doing all that bad, sitting right now at 38 harvesters to the 39 of Haypro. So right now, Rhett not obviously in a terrible position, but Haypro is going to be looking to assault here over towards this base. We do see that there is not actually a fungal growth up yet on these infestors, and that is huge because Haypro does have 3 fungal growths that he can throw down on those roaches. Just a couple of infested Terran coming out for Rhett. Might have wanted to save that energy for fungals, but not going to be able to do it, and Haypro could actually break this gold base of Rhett's once again. So right now we do see Rhett trying to defend this gold base if he can, but I think he's going to actually have a hard time defending it. We see a lot more roach numbers reinforcing in now for Haypro. One infestor does manage to have enough for fungal growth and will attack Haypro's army. He does have 2 more infestors now that do have some fungals in a defensive position, but Rhett is going to have to give up that gold base. That could give Haypro the advantage he needs, as his gold now finally just now finished up. Right now the supply count definitely in Haypro's favor at 117 to just the 80 of Rhett. So Haypro doing a good job of staying aggressive enough to actually punish Rhett every time Rhett is not prepared to defend one of his attacks. We see Rhett now does obviously have the energy advantage on his infestors, has a lot of infestors out now. Going to be even building more, so going to be up to some huge infestor numbers for Rhett. Haypro building a lot of infestors as well, but is very low on energy. So right now the attack advantage definitely will be in Rhett's favor until Haypro can get up some more infestors. And Rhett suddenly asking Haypro if he farted, and Haypro just with the laugh out loud. That was a little bit out of the blue there. A little bit of a torrid back and forth, and then Rhett wondering if Haypro farted. So maybe some biological warfare here on the part of Haypro behind that attack. I'll have to wait and see. Do see Rhett is going to be moving out though. Must not be happy about the fart smell that he has incurred. Wants to try and do some damage to Haypro. Do see Haypro does have some fungal growth up. If he could get a fungal on the infestors, it would be huge. And he actually does get a big fungal off on all of Rhett's infestors. And Rhett loses all of his infestors. Haypro is able to keep his. You do see Rhett though in a position to maybe get a fungal down on some of Haypro's infestors. Coming with a couple of reinforcements right now, I think Haypro is going to be able to hold this. Retreating his infestors now. That was a huge hit from Rhett when he did lose those infestors, and there's the GG, and Haypro is going to take this game number 3 and will win this grudge match with his teammate. So congrats to Haypro. Apparently the biological warfare ended up working out in his favor as he ends up taking this game number 3. Some really good attack timings. Was obviously not the superior player as far as just squeezing in those drone counts goes, but was able to use his aggression to his advantage, limit Rhett's ability to drone up heavily, and ended up getting enough of an advantage that he was able to take this game. So congrats to Haypro taking the 2-1 victory over Rhett. For MLG TV, guys, this is going to be Nursky saying peace, easy for now. I will see you guys at my next cast.